Welcome to my kitchen. I literally woke up last night in the middle of the night and I was like, the lights are wrong. $3.97. Will I burn out of tiredness before the end of the day? Just stay tuned. All right, welcome to my kitchen. So this is day one on what I think might be a fairly long makeover process, just because I have to still use this as a kitchen, so I can't just create total chaos and get it done really fast. I need to be able to do it in parts. So what are those parts, you might ask? I have quite a long list. As I was like thinking about this makeover and what I wanted to change, the things just kept adding up and it just started becoming this insane chaotic list of DIYs I want to do. So I'm gonna try and get to as many as I can in this video, and I don't want to spoil them all right now, so I'll just talk to you about some of the major things and then there'll be a bunch of little surprises as we go. So one of the biggest things, and like the real reason why I thought of even doing this video, might be obvious, is the kitchen cabinets are all this very red colored wood, and this red colored wood is nowhere else in this house. So this room really stands out as a room that doesn't match the rest of the home. I think I want to paint them. So that's one of the big things that's changing in this space. Another thing talking about colors is the backsplash. Let me show you. Now, would I have picked any of these color schemes if I were to design my own kitchen from the ground up? I don't think so. I don't like the redwood, I don't like the backsplash, and I'm not the hugest fan of the countertop. It's got a lot going on, but to swap everything out would be a major process, expensive, and I don't think it needs to be necessary because that's so wasteful. So we're gonna try and work with the countertop because that I think is the hardest thing to replace because it's custom and you can't paint it, you would need to replace it. So we're gonna leave that and try and make this work. I have a theory that the countertop and everything here is skewing a green tone strictly because this backsplash has so much green in it. So I'm hoping and thinking that if we swap the backsplash, it'll make this countertop look a lot less green. If we don't draw attention to the green hues in it and maybe skew it more beige and white and black, I think it'll work. I'm hoping it'll work. That's my plan. So another big project is swapping the backsplash, which I want to do myself. I've only done tiling once in the Loft 5s, and even then I had help. I didn't really do it all myself. So this is gonna be quite the process, but I think swapping it out is gonna do a lot for this overall color scheme in the kitchen. I have a fun DIY planned here, something around the stove. Keep that one a secret for now. So the sink we're gonna keep because I don't wanna swap the countertops, and the sink is a perfect fit for the countertop, but the faucet here has never retracted properly since we moved in. I've even gone underneath to try and fix it and it just can't be saved. So I'd love to swap this faucet out. And one of the big things, which I think we can start with today, this here you might remember from some of the old vlogs, is kind of an open door shelving unit that I made myself a long time ago from IKEA things. This was an IKEA base and I custom made the countertop, and it was like this angled kind of pattern, and it was really nice when I made it, but I don't know what happened. Don't mind my oranges. The wood has really separated and split over time, creating these really big gaps in the wood, which just is not cute anymore. And I really don't like that it's all so exposed because it just never looks organized or clean. No matter how often I try and clean it, you just can see everything. So it inevitably
looks like a mess.
It's not nice that you can see it all of the time. So my first plan of attack on this kitchen makeover is to take away this shelving unit that I have here, and in its place get like a little row of cabinets that I'm hoping can match the rest of these cabinets, like the shape of them, and just sit here in its place to hold everything that's already here but behind doors so it looks cute. And then I think if I can get similar shaped doors, it'll just feel like it's always here as part of the rest of the kitchen. So I'm assuming I can find something on the IKEA website, build something that is a similar feel, and then when I paint them all, they can get painted the same color and blend right in. That's the plan. It's almost like I'm redoing the old kitchen before doing the new makeover. Does that make sense? Because I'm getting cabinets that aren't going to be the final color. I'm getting cabinets to match the old kitchen. And then after that, we're gonna make a whole new kitchen. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I was literally just jumping in my car to run to IKEA to pick up the new cabinets for the kitchen. And I thought, I might as well make sure that these are in stock before I drive all the way over there, which is always smart. And most of them were in stock except for the one large cabinet base piece that I need, and it's out of stock, and it's out of stock at every IKEA.
everywhere, which makes me think it's not coming in stock anytime soon. So I thought quickly, let me check Marketplace or Kijiji to see if somebody has it, and I found somebody that has that large cabinet base and they're selling it. So I just messaged them and I said, hi, I want it, can I come grab it now? Because I want to make sure I can get that piece before getting the rest of it from IKEA. So it's sounding like I can go get it. So I'm gonna go do that first, make sure I have it, then go to IKEA to get the remaining parts. Wow, I got so lucky there.
Okay, this is my Marketplace find. Love that it's already assembled for me, but I do have the 2 smaller units on either side that I do need to build. So let's do that. Oh my goodness. Can we talk about how exact of a fit this is? Things that are satisfying, this unit here. Oh my god. I'm so happy when my measurements work out because it's not always. Look at this. Excuse my dirty baseboards, but look at how, look. It's like a millimeter space left over. Wow. Feels good. Okay, this piece of pine is going to, oh my god, if I can get it in, cover the raw top of the cabinet and will eventually get painted the same color as the cabinets. Wow, talk about a freaking tight fit. Wow, it's beautiful. Okay, so let me tell you about the first DIY I want to do for the kitchen. This is basically a pot organizer, and it's gonna go in the bottom left cupboard that I just put up right beside the stove. And this is like an easy way to just organize your pots to have them hanging instead of like a pile, which they currently are in, and every time you want to get one you have to lift all the other ones out of the way to get to them. So I think this will be a simple solve, but I was just planning to buy one of these things because you can purchase them, but they're weirdly expensive. So I have my computer here, let me show you. Okay, yeah, this one here, where it fits nicely inside of a cupboard door and they hang down from the top, and it pulls out too, so you don't have to like go in the cupboard to get them. You can like slide out the thing with all of your pots on it. So this one, when I saw it the first time, it wasn't on sale, $110, but still $80, $74, $75 for this is, I think, a little expensive. So my plan today, see, look, oh, look at this tall, yeah, you could put it in any cupboard because it hangs from the ceiling to put your brooms and stuff on, genius. But I want to do this one, which is essentially just like the pot version. I keep calling it pot, but I'm gonna use it for pans. Yeah, the skinnier ones, because I have more pans than I do pots. Anyways, so I think this is gonna be simple to make because really all it is you need the sliding bits out of a drawer and then hooks, and then you screw it to the top of your cabinet. So from the hardware store, I got these, they come in a pack of 2, obviously because you need them for a drawer, but I'm gonna only need one for this. Maybe I can use it somewhere else in the kitchen. It's a slide out rail. This will become more clear later. So this I think was $23. Yeah, that sounds right. $23 for 2 of them, and I only need 1, so that's like, can I do quick math? $11.50 for 1 of these. And then the little hooks I'm gonna use are these. I just needed to get the bigger ones because they fit better on the ends of my pans, but that should still be fine. And these are so cheap, like $2 maybe for a 2-pack. So already we're off to a much better start than the $110 price. So let's get to assembling this. Actually, while I have you here, and I have my internet up, I need to order a new faucet for my kitchen sink because I don't know how long it's gonna take to arrive, and I'd like to do that now just so it's done and out of the way. And I know which one I want, but I don't know what it is. I know because I keep seeing it in my pins for my kitchen board. I keep seeing the same faucet that I really like, but I don't know who makes it or how much it is. So let's figure that out together. If you ever want to know what I'm working on or what's coming up next in a video, follow my Pinterest because I pin a ton of stuff before starting a project to get inspo a lot of the time. So I have a kitchen board here. Let's see if I can see the faucet. I wasn't even looking for faucet inspo. I was just pinning stuff for the kitchen for like different vibes, and then this same faucet I was just noticing kept reoccurring. So I'm like, maybe I subconsciously really like this. Of course now it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be right there. Okay, so this, see it here on this pin here. This is the sink. It's got like a coil around the top of it, but I want, no, it's not the sink. This is the faucet. And I want this in like a matte black.
I think will be really nice to tie in the black that's in the countertop. So anyways, this is it, but let's see if we can go find it on an actual site. Kitchen faucet. Oh my gosh, pull down kitchen faucets, that looks like it. Okay, yeah, this looks like it. Oh, why is there so many options? $219, $219, $379. What is the difference? $352, $397. So clearly there's $235, a lot of different options with a similar look. So I'm gonna, I guess, do some research, figure out what the best one is. Would love to keep the price down a little on this. I'll be back in a second. Okay friends, this is the one. This is the one we're gonna do. Found it on the Lowe's website, and it was one of the ones that was like mid-range for price, and the thing that sold it for me is it comes with a matching soap dispenser, which as you will see, I have a space for one of those to go in my countertop, and it's something that I want, so that's great. And I'm gonna place the order for this guy, and then we'll do that when it arrives, but let's get back to the pot organizer, the pan organizer, the pan organizer. Okay, so this is the drawer slide that I'm gonna use to make my slide out pan organizer, and I have a piece of wood that I cut to be slightly less than the depth of my cabinet, so I know that it will fit, and then all the hooks can go on here. So first step is gonna be screwing this to the drawer slide. Okay, so this is where the back of the cabinet will sit, so I need to make sure that this, when it's closed, doesn't go any farther back because it won't actually work like that. So I'm just gonna use a piece of wood to like mimic the back of the shelf so I can make a little tick that my little piece needs to not go farther than that. So now we open it. The little piece will line up with the tick mark I drew, and then I'm just gonna use some little 3/4 inch screws to screw this together. Wow. All right, and then I want to get to, okay, this last hole in here. You just kind of have to like move this around so that you can access the different places where you need to put the screws in. Alrighty. Okay, so it's gonna go like this. This is the top of the cabinet, and then it pulls out. So all the hooks need to be in here for the pans to hang off of. So I'm just gonna do 4 hooks, evenly spaced. Okay, and then lastly, so that you can actually kind of pull it out once it's in the cabinet, I'm gonna take just another piece of wood and screw that onto the end, and this will kind of be like the thing you can grab to pull out all your pans. LOL, my screws weren't long enough. Take 2. It's looking really good. You pull on this, this comes out. The last step is installing it. Let's do it. Oh my goodness. That's so satisfying. All right, you guys. I got every pan that we own hanging in here perfectly. No problems at all. And it fits so well. Even our widest pan still fits in here, no problem. And we have one really heavy cast iron one that I put on the bottom just because it's quite heavy, but this makes me so happy. I still need to sand the front, and I think I want to paint it probably so it looks less like a DIY project, but I'll get to that later. And I think in total it's probably cost me like $25, which is so much better than the $100 this thing was going for online. Okay, next up I'm gonna switch out the lighting in here, and I'm really excited to put up lights that I can put smart bulbs in so I can change the color temperature, because let me show you what I've been working with. Yeah, you can see why that's been a problem. I really liked the aesthetic of this light when I put it up, but I didn't realize it would be so orange with the exposed Edison bulb lights. So that's made filming anything in my kitchen really difficult. So I'm excited to swap those out. Also, the 2 lights in my kitchen don't match, which is like a minor thing that's like, my neighbors are doing yard work and it's
driving me insane.
And and I think having a matching set will just help this whole room feel more cohesive, which I do have, and I actually have 2 options of lights, and I don't know which I'm gonna like, so I think the plan is to put them both up, one in each spot, and just see which one I like better, and go from there. So let me go grab them and we can show you. Okay, so option number 1 is this incredible pendant light, big bowl one. It's like a white metal with this insane like ornate detailing on the inside, and it's huge compared to me. It's really big. So those came from this amazing vintage store in Toronto, and I got an incredible deal on them. It was $50 for the set, so $25 a light. Absolutely amazing. My only fear is that they're gonna be too big and like too much of a feature light for this room. That's my concern, but we'll see. So my second option's a little bit more of a safe choice. And it is this white drum pendant. Do you see it? This I got in the sale section at CB2. I think they were on sale for like $60 or $70, which is still, you know, a little expensive, but not for CB2. I think originally they were definitely over 100 or 120. And I have that style of light in my living room already, and I love it so much, so I thought it would just blend nicely to have more of them in the kitchen. If the mega statement pendants don't work, I have those ones. So I'm really not sure at all, so I'm gonna hang them, and I think it will become more clear when I see them in the space. Okay, the cover is not on that one fully yet because I just wasn't sure if I was keeping it, but yes, oh my gosh, I love this one so much. Seeing the silver like hanging with the daylight hitting it is just so beautiful, and honestly, seeing them both hung up, this one doesn't feel that much bigger than this one. Let me show you from this angle, if you can tell. Yeah, and I want to adjust the wire on this even more so it hangs even closer to the ceiling so it's out of the way, but like, yeah, width-wise, they take up kind of the same surface area, and this one's just kind of boring.
A few moments later.
As you can see, the lights are up. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about this all day because I literally woke up last night in the middle of the night and I was like, the lights are wrong. And I think I'm trying to like them in this space so much because I like the lights so much. Like, they are a beautiful, gorgeous vintage light. But I feel so deep down that they're just not right for this space, and I think I'm gonna swap them for the other ones. And that's all she wrote. And it's so frustrating because it took me so long to get them up and centered and all that, and they're so beautiful, but I just think they're too big and they hang a little too low, and they're too much of a statement for this kitchen, and I just have to put the other ones on, the 2 other ones, to really know, and I think those will be the right choice. But I know this is so annoying and so frustrating, and I'm usually so sure of my design choices, but in this case it's eating me up inside. It feels wrong. Okay, so this is them. This is how they look. I mean, if I ever want to go back to them, this is a reference of how they looked, but I'm thinking the other ones are the way to go. Okay, Google. Lights to 20%. I just want you to be able to see like how nice the inside was, but they're giving me spaceship vibes, coming to abduct me in my kitchen. These want to go, I think, in a really tall space or centered over a kitchen island, which they don't have. So that's, I think, where they would look the most best. The most best. Chef's kiss, somehow those would look best styled. So I'm gonna hold on to them for when I have the dream space for them, because I do love them so much. Okay, they are up, and it's so much more simple feeling, and the space feels taller because they're out of the way more, and I just feel like I can breathe and carry on with the rest of the makeover now. Before we finish the chapter on lighting, there's one more thing I want to do. Okay, so I picked up this little sconce. I got 2 of them, and I'm gonna put them above each of the windows in the kitchen. I'm just gonna add more height to the space, and I actually got these at Canadian Tire. They were on clearance for, I think, $20 a sconce, and I really like them because they reminded me a lot of this sconce from 777 lighting, which I love, but that one's like 180 a light. So when I found something quite like similar, I mean similar-ish, for $20, felt like a good deal. So these are silver, and I don't think I want them to be silver, so I'm going to paint them. I'm just so unsure of what color to paint them because the colors in this kitchen are like a cream, like a beige, black, and then the knobs on the handles are like a brass aged gold. So my immediate thought is to do the like top part here in like a brass and then the shade in a white. I think that's probably the best way to go because I'm worried about this space feeling too black and white. Like, I want some softness, so I think the brass will be nice for that. And I thought about doing them all white, but then I think they blend into the wall too much, and that's not really helping to draw attention. I'm all over the place with this. I'm gonna start with that, and then because I've already painted it, I can just paint it another color if I don't like it. Okay. The nice thing about this light too is that it comes apart really easily, so makes it really easy to paint it in 2 sections. This and then the shade is separate. Okay, both of these things definitely need more coats of paint, but I couldn't decide what color to do on the actual like part that goes on the wall, not the shade. So I spray painted 2 options because I'm pretty sure I want the shade to be white. So there's white with the brass, which, you know, looks pretty good. Or just because this feels fun and a little different, there is white with like a beigey brown. I feel like the brass just looks more like traditional.
It's a tough call. They're so different.
Like I always like to do things that are like unique and different and like, I don't know, feel modern in design. I don't know if the brown is like that or too much. Okay, it's been some time and I realized that I left you totally hanging on the light saga and what colors I ended up doing. I will come back to that later because there's still more to do with those, but I want to get moving on what I think is probably going to be one of the, if not the biggest DIY projects in this kitchen makeover, and that is the backsplash. And I have to be so honest with you guys that I am legitimately so nervous to do this. I don't know why. It's not that I don't think I can do it. It's just one of those scenarios where I'm like, I'm so nervous, but I know I have to do it because I think it's gonna feel so amazing if I do it. The easy route out would be to just have someone else do it, but I don't want to. I want to do this and I want to learn how to do it. So that's why we're gonna do it. But before we jump into doing it, let's talk about what my plan is for the backsplash. So at the beginning of this video, we talked about like how I think that the current backsplash has too much of like a green hue to it, and that's making the rest of the kitchen and the countertop feel more like an old dated green than it needs to be. So the plan is to take that off so that there's no more of that green tone, and in its place put like a new color that will bring out better tones in the countertop. So I was on Pinterest for like a long time trying to figure out what felt right for me in the space, and like I don't have the answer immediately every time to what my style is and like what the best plan for the room is that feels me. So in times like that when I don't know, I just scroll and look at different styles and just look at so many different options, and like in the end I just always end up having a gut feeling of like, this feels right, this feels the most me. Like I'm like, yes, I identify with this one, I like it. And that's how I know. I did that for kitchen tile and backsplash, and like I was so stuck on the like train track that was like uniform tiles, whether it be like rectangle ones, square ones, octagon ones, like any of that. I was just like, why are none of these feeling right? So I decided to go even broader and like even more different, and I ended up finding this style, which I don't really know the exact word for it. I mean, it's pebble backsplash. It's basically stones, and it gives me the vibe of like cottage in the woods, like an old stone like Snow White house, and it feels like old and vintage, but also, I don't know, very different and fresh, and I really like that. So that's the plan. And actually, it's so funny, I just saw the other day Joanna Gaines, she started a cooking show, and I think it's called like Magnolia Table. Hey, what is Joanna Gaines' cooking show called?
Magnolia Table. On the website,
she was posting pictures of the set, and the backsplash for that kitchen in that show is like this tile. It's like a bigger scale, which I love, but obviously that's custom and expensive, but that's like exactly the vibe. So it's cool to see that like existing in other places, so I know I'm not like so out there on a concept. But yeah, that's what I've settled on. That's what I'm gonna do. I am really stalling talking to you guys because I am so afraid to take off the old backsplash. So we're gonna do it. We're just gonna start doing it, and come what may, we'll figure that out. This is the Schrodinger's cat scenario. We just gotta open the box and start doing it to find out what comes next. So let's get to it. Okay, so how I think I'm going to be able to do this is with this device. This is a multi-tool. This is the Ryobi one, and these are cool because you can put like a ton of different tips on the end to do different things like sanding and cutting. This is a scraper blade. Beauty guru, but make it DIY. So what this is essentially like the same thing you would use to put wall putty on, or like a chisel in between those two. It's a scraper blade, but because it's motorized, it vibrates and does a better job than if I were to do it with my hand. Replay that last sentence for anyone who wants a good laugh. This is what I think, from some videos I've seen, is a really effective way to get tile off. And the hope is that this does such a good job that the drywall underneath doesn't get totally destroyed, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to start doing it. So safety glasses will be on my face, and we're gonna do it. It's definitely getting under there. Let's keep going. All right, it's going. I'm hesitant to add the well at the end. It's going well. But learned a couple things after doing this patch, which took me almost an hour. We're at 50 minutes and I did this much. But I think I am learning things that are gonna make the rest of this go a lot faster. So the tool, super helpful for making a nice cut. Don't look at this for an example, but I'll show you later on another patch. I'm waiting for the battery to charge, but like useful for making a nice first cut into the tile. But then as I was waiting for said battery to charge, I just thought, let's see what I can do with like a regular old crowbar wrench thing. Pry bar screwdriver, pry bar driver. Let's see how far I can get with just this and a hammer. And now that I've started, I can hammer into like the exposed sides and it's going so much faster. So let me show you. Look at that, that just flew off there. So easy. Had to sit down for this. So yeah, you got that part done. And it's 5:40 now, and I figure I started this at 4 o'clock-ish. So yeah, it took me like an hour 45 to do that amount, and I have to do all this plus over there. So you do the mental math. So honestly, in the end, it ended up being like a combo of both things. So where I could, I just used the screwdriver and a hammer to break off as much as I could. And then when I got to an area that was really tight or like in the corner and it was hard to get to with the screwdriver, I used that multi-tool to kind of go along the top edge of the tile and make like a line where there'd be like an opening underneath the back of the tile that I could then take the hammer to loosen it and then use that screwdriver to break it off again. So it's a combo of all the things. I think the multi-tool definitely helped, but it's a lot faster if I can do the pieces that I can get to with the screwdriver. Here's where I'm at now. My arms are burning, my legs are burning, my everything is burning. But I am the kind of person that likes to make a big mess when I'm DIYing and get everything done and then clean it up after. But I'm in the kitchen and I don't live alone and I can't leave it like this until I do the whole thing, because that's gonna be a chaos and a mess. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break, clean up what I've done so far, and I think I'm going to need to get some sheetrock to patch these holes. So plan is clean up, go to the office because I think and hope we have a bag of sheetrock there from when we did the wall. Grab that, come back here, mix the sheetrock, and patch the mess that I made. Wall is patched, I mean very roughly. I'm gonna let this dry, maybe do a second coat, but the reason why I don't think it matters that much is because I'm still planning to cover this with new tile. I think if you wanted to take tile off to make it drywall underneath, that would be a lot of work and many layers of sheetrock and like skim coating and all that to get it really nice and smooth and sanded. But since I'm covering it up anyways, it's okay. And the other thing too is, I don't think I've actually shown you the tile I got in my house yet. Hold on. So this is it. It's like the pebbles, the stones, and oh my gosh, it looks so good. I love it already. The other thing is that it's supposed to look like literal stones. So even if all of these aren't like 1000% even, that's kind of the look anyways. So I'm not too pressed about it. Feeling positive. Okay, you guys, now we're on day 4 of removing the old backsplash. This is taking a long time, and I'm like at a point where I just want to move on to the next step so badly, but I feel like I have officially nailed down the process on like the best way to go back and forth between the tools to do it effectively. And I have decided that I want to get rid of this whole wall in one day. And let me just remind you that it took me like 3 days to do this. So what I did in 3 days, I want to do, this might even be more because there's more above the stove. I'm gonna do this all today. I want to do it. I'm saying it now and I'm just starting and I'm not gonna stop. Will I burn out of tiredness before the end of the day? Just stay tuned. Okay, back with another update. So the drywall has been patched and it is pretty much dry. This is how it's looking. These are the lights that were underneath the cabinets. I just took them down so I could access behind them. I'll put them back up, I think probably once the new tile is up. But yeah, feeling good. We're basically ready to start retiling, which is so exciting. It's all I've been waiting for and looking for like the past week. But I am gonna give it, I think, one more day just to let the drywall totally dry before I put something new on it, because I don't want it to be wet at all and then it will never dry if I kind of seal it in there. So that's what I'm gonna do, but feeling super good about how far we've come. But while I wait, might as well talk to you about what I did with the lights, because as you can see, they are up. I went back and forth on color options for so long, and I finally decided on like that creamy almond color for the shade, and then I ended up going with the brown on the back plate, which is the thing I was most unsure about. Like, I have in my mind like the final vibe and vision that the whole kitchen will be and the whole color scheme, and I just think this is gonna match the best, even though right now it's kind of like those feel like they don't match, but I can see it, and trust me, when it's all together it's gonna look really cool. So I'm excited for that. But as you can see, there's no bulb in them, and that's because I didn't actually wire them at all to anything because there was no light box behind it. And my choice was to run a cord, I guess, down the side. It could maybe get plugged in there, but then over here where I put the other one, the outlet's even farther away, and I just didn't want messy cords running. So I think that later me will have the choice to either wire it so it's a plug-in or get an electrician to like properly wire them so they work with a bulb. But for right now, since they're honestly more for aesthetic reasons than they are for actually lighting the kitchen, I have an idea in mind, and that is to do the puck light hack. If you aren't aware of what that is, I don't know why I clapped so aggressively. If you don't know what that is, let me just show you how it's done right now. So this is a puck light. You can, oh, that's bright. They're tap on, tap off. You can put them anywhere, in a closet, under a cabinet, anywhere you need extra light, and they are just battery operated. So I'm gonna link the ones I got below. They also have this handy remote that comes with them that you can, you know, turn on, turn off via remote, which is great. So the hack is to essentially put this inside of a sconce, and then it ends up lighting up the area like a light bulb would, but you don't need any wiring, which is amazing. So on the back of the light, it comes with this little plate that you're meant to kind of screw into wherever you're putting the light, like your closet or whatever. So you can take this plate and you can literally glue it to the inside of the light, but because I really like these lights and there is a chance that down the road I want to use them as like an actual corded light, I don't want to get it all gluey in there. So what I've decided to do is get this thing, which this is a little adapter, which you can get, they're like $1, $2, really inexpensive, and they're meant to go inside of a corded light and turn it into a plug, which I don't really know how many times you would actually use this for this product. I can't think of a time where I'd want to screw this into a light bulb base and then plug something in, but in theory it works that way. But we're not going to use it that way. We're just going to use this as a glorified flat base that will screw nicely into our light that I can glue the base to, so that I can then screw this puck light nicely into the sconce and I don't have to wreck my original light at all, because I'm using essentially a light bulb base. And remember, this light is not wired in any way at all. It's not plugged into anything, so you don't have to be worried by the fact that this is like an outlet, because it's not electric. I'm gonna let these dry and cure for 24 hours and then we're good to install them. Look how fun this is. I want to turn this into like a Harry Potter wand or something, because it just feels like magic being able to do that. So like I said, like, these aren't going to produce
an overwhelming amount of light, like I wouldn't use them to light your entire kitchen, but as a nice little accent light and just something to add above this window, I am so happy with them. I love the color I ended up choosing, and I think the little puck light hack is such a genius idea if you don't want to worry about cords. All right guys, it's time. We are ready to move on with getting the tile on the wall. Tile, backsplash, pebbles, whatever we're calling it. So before I actually get it up on the wall, I need to lay everything out on the floor and just make sure I have it all in the order I want it to go up on the wall, so that once I get the glue essentially on the wall, I'm not stressed about it. I know exactly what pieces go where, and I just plop them on. And it makes my life a lot less stressful. So I think, so I don't wreck my floor, I'm gonna lay out a big sheet of craft paper and mark out the exact dimensions of the wall, and then on top of that fit in all of the tile. Because one thing I noticed as I was opening the boxes of tile is that not all of the sheets are the exact same size. They definitely vary, so I want to make sure that I have an even mix of them throughout, and it's not like one size and one half and then another size and the other half. So I'm gonna lay them on the floor, play around, make sure I get the layout exactly how I want it, and then we're gonna be in a really good spot to get this on the wall. All right, well this literally took me all day, but look how exciting! Okay, this is the whole one wall. This is the whole second wall. There's even all the outlets marked out there, and an outlet there, and an outlet there. And this is basically how it's going to look when it's on the wall. And the really nice thing about this tile is that it's all just on this really thin mesh sheet, so you can cut it apart and fit it into however you need to. And at the end, I was even taking like single ones off and just filling the last little spaces so it can look as complete as possible. Okay, and then something else I did that I think will be very helpful is I just took my phone and I just took pictures of all my layout here on the floor. When I go to put this up on the wall and I start picking up the tiles, like little ones are gonna fall out of place and I'm gonna forget where they all went. So this is a good record of like exactly how every piece went in the exact position that it fit nicely, so I can make sure it looks exactly the same on my wall that it does on the floor. Now, if this is your first time ever tiling anything and you're watching this video to learn, I mean, I would highly recommend that you watch like a how-to video on how to tile. But the basic gist of it is that you need this stuff called thin set, which is basically the glue that sticks the tile to the wall. And you put it on the wall the same way that you kind of do drywall, spackle sheetrock with something like this. And then you're going to need a trowel with little groovy boys in it that makes nice grooves in the glue so that it makes like the perfect texture for maximum adhesion. So that is what we're gonna do and how we're gonna get this all on the wall. I'm gonna start around the outlet and work outwards so that if I have a little extra space around the top or the side, that's okay. I just don't want a whole bunch of extra space here where I can't fit another stone perhaps. And I know these lights are definitely in the way right now. Another thing we're just gonna have to work around. All right guys, I'm feeling good about these lines. Let's go. And we have a problem already. How did I mess that up? Wow, good work at me. So, already learned, start from the bottom, not the top. Okay, so like, that's fine, because we survived that and I fixed it. What does this mean for everything else? Is everything else I measured out wrong? I really hope not. Okay, I realized the error of my ways because in my actual layout here, hello, zoom in. Wow, why can I not? I can't phone today. Jeez, first day on the phone. Okay, see, even in my actual layout, those rocks went above my Sharpie line. So that was a total my bad, a rookie move, an oversight. So I think everything else that's underneath, which is the rest of it, should be good. So yeah, I'm just gonna carry on. I feel like we're working out. We're looking good. Yay, yay. Guys, it's working and I'm so excited. The gray back is kind of throwing me off because it looks like the grout is gray, but that's just like the thin set. So we really will see it come to life once I do the cream grout. But either way, like it already looks so good and I'm so happy. Let's keep going. We are on to the
the last step and I am so excited. You guys have no idea. This is where the whole thing comes to freaking together. We get to grout today, baby. So grout is basically just the goo that goes between the stones and makes it look finished. So I have to apply that today, and I think this will be relatively easy. Here's hoping. Okay, so this is the grout, and I got it in the color Bone, which is like a dark cream, I guess I would describe it as, and I think it's actually darker than these stones. But I was nervous about going with something that was too white because I had this fear that these stones could end up looking too much like marble, too glam, too like palace stones, and that's just not, that's a different vibe than what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for more like rustic, kind of cottagey vibes. So yeah, my fear was the white would make it look too glam. So I went for like this darker color, and I'm really hoping it's not too dark and doesn't just make it look dingy or dirty. Let's find out. And one other super quick note before we start. These stones are like raw, unsealed stones. They don't have like a shiny glaze on them, so they can soak up water or anything really easily the way they are. So I just went ahead and sprayed them with this tile sealer before we grout, and did a couple coats of this, let it dry in between, because there is a chance that the grout could like stain them or put like watermarks on them, which we don't want. So I did this first. Now we're good to grout. Oh baby. Ooh. I like it. I think it's gonna dry darker than this though, for sure. Okay, so the basics of grouting is this. You're gonna use a scraper tool like this to push the grout in between all of the cracks on the stones. Don't worry if you get the grout all over the stones, which you inevitably will. We're gonna wipe it off later. Traditionally, you might see people using a float tool to do this, but I found that was a lot easier on tile that is perfectly even and flat. Because my stones are so uneven, I needed to use something a lot smaller to get the grout in between all of the fine lines. Make sure you're working in small sections at a time so that you don't let the grout dry too much, because then it's going to be impossible to wipe off. I'm using a damp sponge to wipe off basically all of the grout that's on top of the stones. I'm going as light and as gently as possible so that I don't wipe away the grout in between the stones, and only what's on top. Don't worry about getting it all off in one go. It's gonna take you several wipes. So I basically wipe off as much as I can, clean off my sponge, let it dry for like maybe 30 seconds more, do another round of wiping, and continue until it's basically clean. If the stones have like a kind of hazy tone, that's okay because we can do a final cleaning once it's totally dry, but I just don't want any big thick chunks of grout left because those are going to be difficult to scrape off once it's dry. And again, if this is your first time taking on tiling and grouting, I would maybe suggest you watch a more in-depth video on how to grout, or maybe watch one from us coming soon. Is that a spoiler? That's totally a spoiler. But yes, if you've never done this, maybe watch a more in-depth video and then come back to this. Okay, tile is done. I sealed it one last time, and it's like, it's good to go. It's finished, and I haven't even processed it yet. I'm still in like the whirlwind of the journey that it was over the last, like, I don't know, it took me 2 weeks to do this. It still doesn't feel real, but it's done. I am obsessed with the result. It's like everything I hoped it would be and better. Plus, I did that myself. I did that. I did that. And it looks good. So if I can do it, you guys can do it. And let me tell you, when I was brewing, thinking about this kitchen makeover many months ago, I was certain that I would have the help of, like, Danny's eating food right now. He's giving me side eye. BRB. And in the past, when taking on like a big project like this, I would always get help. Like, would have Allie or I'd have Kelsey, but because of the lockdown, like, I could not bring in a single second pair of hands to this project. So like, these babies did it all. I've broken every single nail, but it was worth it. So to wrap up this video, I did end up painting the little pot holder. I painted it white to match the inside of the cupboard, and I think it looks great. Still completely happy with my light choices and love that we have that new row of cabinets. It's already made my life so much easier, but I don't want to leave you hanging though. Well, I will be leaving you hanging because this is only part one. As you can tell, we're not near finished. I think this actually probably looks fairly similar to where we started, but I have so much planned for the second half of this kitchen makeover. Okay, you guys, I just pulled something together quick in Photoshop, and okay, how do I do this? This is the one. It's in a bathroom, but I think it'd be absolutely perfect for the kitchen. Oh my god, is that gonna fit? But trust me, I have a vision, And when everything is done, I think it's gonna come together and be so beautiful, or at least in my head, it's like a masterpiece. Please subscribe because I want you to come back and watch part 2 when that's out. It might be a little bit, but when it's out, I want you here because I want you to see what we started today come full circle, because I think it's gonna be really good. I hope maybe you guys learned something in this process, felt a little less intimidated to take on a big project yourself, and at the very least, maybe you were entertained. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!